Well, I'm here with ESPN's Todd McShay. And Todd, big picture, when you look at this draft, what are the positions that stand out to you and you say, man, there's a lot of really good players at that spot?
I think on offense, tight end, running back are two that stand out. We've had a drought at both of those positions. I think it's been 2 first-rounders in the last 4 years for both positions. And I think when you look at tight end, we should at least have 2, O.J. Howard from Alabama and David Njoku from Miami. And then at running back, you could have up to 4. Certainly Leonard Fournette from LSU and Florida State's Dalvin Cook. And then Alvin Kamara, who didn't have a lot of run or a lot of carries at Tennessee. The most carries he had in a game was 18. But he's an explosive player with the ability to catch the ball and versatility. Then Christian McCaffrey's another guy who could fit in, more likely early second round. But those 2 positions on offense, and I think pass rushers, D-line is strong, but the secondary is as strong as it's been in a long time.
Now, the secondary, that's the spot where the Ravens, they could add somebody either at safety or cornerback at 16. Do you think they would be able to get a guy at 16 that's a plug-and-play starter?
I think there's no question. This year at both the positions, you look at probably the 2 Ohio State guys, Marshawn Latimer at corner and Malik Hooker at safety, are going to be off the board, I would guess, in the top 10. After that, Jamal Adams at safety from LSU will be off the board in the top 10. But I think when you start to look at maybe Teez Tabor from Florida, Quincy Wilson is another Florida cornerback. The safety position, Jabril Peppers, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. A lot of mixed opinions on him, but maybe he's a little later in the first round. But and even if you don't get one in the first round, I think the depth is what's so impressive. There are going to be corners and safeties in the 3rd, 4th round that usually you'd be going after in the 2nd, 3rd round, just because of how deep this class is.
I want to talk about pass rusher. This is a spot also. The Ravens still have Terrell Suggs, but he's up there in age. They have Elvis Dumervil, but he's also somebody who's on the back 9 of his career. Do you think that there could be a Terrell Suggs type replacement in this year's draft?
It's big shoes
big
to fill.
Shoes to fill, exactly.
I think on paper there's depth in this class, let's put it that way. I mean, we know that at the top of the draft we're very likely to have Myles Garrett from Texas A&M. Then I think probably the interesting player that not a lot of people are talking about right now is Taco Charlton from Michigan. I just got done with his tape and saw him 5 times live this season, and he's a player that's a lot more explosive than people kind of anticipated. Everyone's talking about Chris Wormley, the other defensive end for Michigan, coming in the year, but Charlton, I think it was 9 sacks in the final 10 games, and it just all over the field, good versus the run, and just keeps getting better as a player. So Taco Charlton's a player, I think, in that mid-first round range who could wind up being a really good value.
Now, the last thing here is you mentioned running backs. What's your feeling? I know your buddy Mel says no running backs in the first round. He doesn't like that. What is your feeling on whether it's worth it to take a running back in the first round?
There's an exception to the rule type player every once in a while. Adrian Peterson was one of them. I thought last 2 years you had guys that you could make an argument for, and Todd Gurley and Zeke Elliott. Leonard Fournette is probably in that same category. There's some questions just about the durability, and we'll see just how he works out during this process. But generally speaking, I would really focus on the core positions. And if the grade was similar and it wasn't an exception type player, I would always go for quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, cornerback, and I would even in today's league now lump in wide receiver as well. They've just become such an important factor unless you're the New England Patriots, and they can win with any of them.
Right. Well, hey, Todd, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You got it. Take care.